So now what? So, as it turns out, wanting to design something and actually designing something is entirely something else. I sat for a while wondering what I could make, and it took a few days in fact. One of the main thoughts I had over the design was that you should try and design something useful that would make a small task a little bit easier. Not wanting to make things too complicated, I decided up on these. These are simple flashcards I'm currently using to help me learn German. They come in a simple cardboard box that, while useful, can't help me distinguish what I've already gone through. So, for my first project, I'm going to try and create a storage box for these that has a divider between the two sections. So obviously, I'm not the best when it comes to designing, but one thing I try and keep in mind is all the dimensions of the flashcard, how many I need to store, and how I want to feel it in my hand. So obviously I first just originally get out a rough shape of the object, write down some dimensions, and then think about anything I can add that might either enhance the design or make it more stable. So obviously it isn't any way to scale because I'm just using general drawings, but I feel like I was able to get a somewhat decent sketch down. So, first design down. Obviously I've had to do it in a thick Sharpie pen so that the camera would pick it up. My original drawing is here, which has a lot more of the notes on it. Pretty hard to explain what exactly I'm trying to design here, because I'm not the best at drawing, but basically I'm going to have a simple box. This bit here is going to be where the divider will rest on a little lowered edge. So basically the edge here would be like that, or with a little bit there, so that these parts can sit in here. And then also I'm going to have the same on the other side, so that maybe in the future if I want to design a lid for this, it would go there. So it is going to be 100mm long with the cards, so that we can get 100 in. And I've just dropped my pen. Let me grab that. So it's going to be 100mm long, so we can have 100 in the cards. So that's half of them, because I feel like 200 would just be too long, because we're going to have 3mm of wall thickness around the box. We're also going to have a very slight chamfer. I think I may have drawn it a little bit too big, but there'll be a nice slight chamfer around the bottom just to make it feel not like a complete box. So it's going to be 70mm high, so that when we do have the card in, this part will sit proudly above, easy to take out. And yeah, so now the only thing to do is to actually make this in a design software. Okay, so now I'm currently in Fusion 365. You can get this free version that you can just use for hobbying. It's a simple design software. I mean, I've used it a little bit, but wouldn't say I'm an expert. So the plan is to try and now translate over my drawing to a actual design. I'm not going to bore you with the entirety of that, so there'll probably be a bit of a time lapse with it. And yeah, enjoy. Okay, so that is the design phase done. Obviously, it's quite a simple design. It literally is just a box and then this thing, which should hopefully just rest on these chamfers here. But I didn't want to make it too difficult. This is my first thing I've designed. I was, though, a little bit stuck with a few things. So obviously I need to do probably a bit more research before I really want to try making anything a little bit more complicated. But now all I need to do is export this and put it into Bambu Studio. So I will be right back after I've figured out how to do that. Okay, so I've exported the models and put them into Bambu Studio. As you can see, I decided that I'm going to go with a nice white design for the case and black for the divider. So that means I'll have good contrast between the two and can easily see them. Now, I do have the AMS, but if I was to currently slice these and print it like this on this plate, I would end up with a stack of waste plastic and also a little tower. So one of the options you can do in Bambu Studio is, if we go down, I think it is, where is it? Print sequence. Go by layer, but I'm going to go by object. Now obviously, if you just kept the items like this, the tool head is going to whack either into this or into that when trying to do the other job. So then you have these little parts here, and you need to basically separate them out so you can print the object. Now of course you could do this manually, but then there's always the risk that even the slightest bit of overlay is going to happen, or we can go to arrange all and arrange. So yeah, so now I won't have as much waste filament, but I still can print these all on one plate. Now because this is connected to the internet and so is my printer, it's just brought through all of the settings and everything. So now all I need to do is slice the plate. So this is going to take 2 hours and 7 minutes. It will take a little bit longer, I find, because it likes to load up and process everything first, but it seems good. It's only going to change filament twice instead of for every single time it switches over between the two. So now there's only one more thing to do, and that is to print. So, first print done. Now, obviously it is just a rectangle, and as it turns out, this little divider I made doesn't seem to want to rest on the chamfer in the edge. So that obviously needs to be a little bit bigger in the future. I think maybe make this part a little bit thinner and these wider, or just make the entire thing in general a little bit wider, but it still can act as a somewhat divider. Fortunately though, it seems that the intended purpose of this is to hold these, and they go in perfectly. And even as I wanted this pit to be right above the top, they line up nicely. So that's good on mine. So obviously that dimension was fine. Now however, I did put a bit of a radius here, but it doesn't seem like it printed out all that well, unfortunately. So that is obviously something that needs to be reflected upon. Maybe just the radius wasn't as big as it could, or from the looks of things it seems that it probably sank down a little bit whilst printing. But I'm still happy with it. These will store these nicely, and even if it's not the right size for now, that will help keep them all divided out. So I'm going to consider this somewhat of a success of a first design. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and comment, and I will catch you in the next one.